Hi, we're Nate and Brianna of Average Jack Archery here in Central Pennsylvania, and today we'd like to showcase the new lineup from Huntworth for 2022, which involves not only their women's, but their new Heat Boost gear. So what makes Heat Boost clothing is graphene fiber, and as cool as the logo might be, it doesn't explain exactly what graphene is and why Heat Boost is a heat boosting material. Graphene in and of itself is a highly heat conductive material, which means when you infuse that in with fabric, when you get that heat off of your body, it gets absorbed into the graphene and it retains it. It has an incredible thermal property and is used well outside of the clothing industry. So when you combine that into your base layers, into your vests, into your jackets, your bibs, whatever it may be, whatever body heat you're producing gets trapped by the graphene in the fabric and stays with you instead of being just blown away. All of the Heat Boost clothing on the outer layer shells all have a wind blocking membrane already inside the fabric as well. It is bonded, so whatever heat you're creating is not going to get sucked right out of you, and that graphene, even if it does get sucked out of you, is still holding heat and therefore to bring your body back up to temperature. It allowed me all late season last year using prototypes to stay on stand longer. No cold felt whatsoever in terms of the wind. It definitely worked. The only thing that got cold were my toes and my hands, which, let's be honest, that's going to happen. Although Huntworth does make some great gloves, and of course that'll be able to be rectified. But let's get through the entire clothing lineup of Heat Boost for this year. So another huge benefit of the Heat Boost material is that it allows for less bulk on the clothing. So this right here wears like a midweight jacket. It looks like a midweight jacket. It has the thickness of a midweight jacket, but it has the heat retention of a heavyweight system. And that's true of all of the Heat Boost lineup. So what they've done is they've necked down from bulk down to the next smallest size, but in weight, in terms of their thermal property, they have beefed up in size. So this is a midweight feel with a heavyweight thermal property. Their heavyweight jacket has an extra heavyweight thermal property without having all of that enormous marshmallow bulk that you would get out of normal puffy coats and more puffy jackets that really make you wear an arm guard, restrict your movement, don't allow you to draw your bow very easily in those super cold temperatures, even operate a firearm under the wrong conditions, if you will. So allowing to wear the Heat Boost on the outside allows more mobility. I don't have to layer nearly as hard underneath. I can wear standard lightweight and midweight base layers well down into the freezing temperatures. Down to the low 20s was my experience last year, and if I needed to beef up to a thicker system, I could, because Huntworth offers it. So Huntworth didn't just slap graphene into their already pre-built clothing and just call it a whole new lineup. They have done other things with their jacket. For example, we now have a thermal lined chest pocket here on the exterior, which, let's be honest, most of us are going to put our cell phone in there. Of course, if it's lined and it actually stays warm, your battery lasts longer. Also, for those of us that are saddle hunters in particular, having chest pockets up in here, which are lined with the fleece, and then also, of course, has the graphene on the exterior as well. So you now are able to keep your hands out of the bridge, or if you're sitting in a regular tree stand, you don't have to worry about your hands being scrunched down in here in your lap. They can stay up in here. Everything stays warmer. Everything's closer to your core. So you can even put your hand warmers in here, which would also, of course, help your hands, but also then, of course, transfers that heat immediately up to your core instead of just being down in here. Now, don't get me wrong. These pockets are still well insulated. You could still use these with hand warmers if you want, but these chest pockets up here, particularly for us saddle hunters, I think is a huge addition. Now, when Huntworth sent me some of their stuff to prototype late last fall and into winter, as I went through the hunting season, they really wanted their feedback on this particular jacket. Now, the current heaviest weight line from Huntworth is too bulky, in my opinion, to effectively use with a bow without having to use an arm guard and without having to kind of think about how you're going to draw the bow. Through that prototyping process, they've come up with this, and I think they have hit an absolute home run. It comes in both this and in the bibs as well, which I'm not going to put on. It's too warm outside for that today, but I'll show you some of its functionality. Here we have a bow arm that has no need for an arm guard. Plenty of clearance on either side. It definitely has a thicker wind-breaking thermal layer. You can feel it on the inside as it's bonded to the jacket. This is meant for the nastiest weather possible. It's going to come with that durable water repellent finish that Huntworth is known for. Lots of insulation, ton of it on the inside. Interior pockets, it's going to have two chest pockets here on the outside, so you have a lot of adjustment there. pack whatever you need, hand warmers, whatever you got to do to stay longer on stand. And of course still has those really nice, both lined inside and out of the exterior chest pocket here. So this jacket is really built for warmth, and I was wearing this prototype down into around the single digits, if not close to 0 or even below, and I was doing just fine. Now, don't get me wrong, nobody's going to be able to stay on stand 8, 10, 12 hours in those kind of conditions, but a 3, 4, 5, 6 hour sit was absolutely zero problem. The only thing that got cold were my toes because of the boots, and of course your fingers. You're just going to lose extremity warmth over time. Continuing on to the bibs, something that we hadn't seen in a lot of other bibs from Huntworth in the past is a full leg zip. So it's both zippered, both bottom and top, so you can walk in wearing these bibs, get that full ventilation that you need in order to allow the clothing to breathe on both sides. You also have an extended chest zipper here, which really allows for a lot of ventilation up top. You can leave it wide open as you're walking in. You don't need that jacket over top. Of course, you have the really nice elastic, as we always have had with Huntworth, and a absolute boatload of fleece thermal insulation here, of course bonded with that graphene. You're talking so much warmth out of these bibs, it's not even funny. I actually overheated a few times wearing these bibs, and that was not to be expected, because I've never had bibs where I've actually just sitting overheated down into those 20s and teen temps. These heat boost bibs were absolutely fantastic. If you're somebody who struggles with those colder temperatures, or you just struggle with cold in general, these heavy, extra heavyweight, as I'm going to call them, from Heat Boost from Huntworth, I think are the real ticket. If you do nothing else with the Heat Boost lineup or with the Huntworth lineup in general, at least at a minimum, try out their gloves. Their hats and their gaiters are all super well done. They do a really good job with their accessories, but their gloves, and these are the Heat Boost ones, are absolutely the best out there. I don't care what you say. They have about a different glove style and a different glove palm pattern for just about any type of hunter out there, whether you're a lady, whether you're a kid, whether you're a grown man, whether you want a leather, faux leather pad like this with the thumb tracking here so you can use your smart device if you want on stand. If you want a leather grip in the front, or a rubber grip, I prefer the leather grip. It adds a little bit better slip with the bow grip in my hand, but for the gun season, when I need to have better grip on that forend, I like to have the rubber. Huntworth does an amazing job with their gloves. If you at least don't try anything else, give a shot of their gloves a try. I think you'll really be impressed, and I think it'll invite you into trying more of their lineup. Now, Huntworth is going to offer Heat Boost in both their Disruption, which is more of their digitalized brown pattern, and their Tarnin. Now, I'm a sucker for Tarnin. I think it's a fantastic pattern. The women's line, which my wife will showcase in a moment, is only Tarnin, or in their hidden for some of their older retro models, which is more of their leaf and stick pattern. But the Disruption's fantastic. I've shot deer wearing this. I've shot deer wearing the Tarnin. Both work excellent. My personal preference is Tarnin, but I think either will work across the country.
Hi everyone, I'm here to showcase some of the women's Huntworth line, and I'm really excited because this year I'm actually going to try and go out with my husband. So we have some Huntworth clothing for me in lightweight, in midweight, and in heavyweight. So I'm excited to showcase some of these items, wear them all season, and report back to you after the season is finished. Alright, the first items I'm going to talk about are the lightweight items. They are perfect for early archery season, turkey season, especially for all of you down in the south. Now all of the items are pretty much made like the men. It has the patches on the knees and on the back. It just has a more slimmer finish, a more tailored look to it for women. Next up, we have the quarter zip grid fleece hoodie, and it is mid-weight. It's also in the men's.
It's in the men's, and I wanted to jump in because I've been wearing this in the non-Heat Boost. Obviously, it's not a Heat Boost item. I've been wearing it for now the past 2 years. And it is quite warm by itself if the environment allows for it. I think you would agree on that. It's been very warm. The only problem is there's no wind blocking material to it. So it is predominantly used as a base layer. If you're gonna try to find your way down to like the 40s and 50s with just this hoodie on, it's not gonna happen if the wind's gonna cut right through it. But if you wanna layer it underneath, say the performance hoodie, which we'll look at in a minute, which has a little bit better wind block capabilities, or one of the regular full line jackets that they have for the ladies lineup, it'd be an excellent addition to keep it warmer a little bit longer, or significantly longer, instead of just being a standalone piece.
I also love it because it has a built-in gaiter, and I'm all about being warm. Unlike him. I don't like being cold, so gaiters are so important to me.
I mean, I don't like being cold either, but I can tolerate it better. It is a gaiter, but it also doubles as a face mask. So if you're interested in doing something like that, particularly if you're in the Northeast, Midwest, up in the North, and it's cold enough during turkey season that you would need something like this, and then of course double it up as a face mask instead of using face paint or something like that in the early season, this is a great option.
Next up, I have some mid-weight items. This is their performance hoodie. It's meant to be for the final piece, probably it again in early season. Right now I have it over my lightweight piece and I am super cozy right now. It's probably about 68 degrees and this will be perfect for this time of year. And then I have their midweight pants that has that in velvet finish. It's super smooth, super comfortable. Again, it has the 4-way stretch, so even though you are wearing a midweight piece, you are again incredibly comfortable and incredibly warm. And just like the men's, it has the zip on the bottom to help you put your boots on, so you don't have to worry about that. Then of course, I can't forget some of their accessories. They make obviously amazing hats, amazing gloves. They're best known for their gloves. They come in lightweight, midweight, heavyweight with the fleece, technology features, everything that you could ask for in a glove, stretchy and comfortable, and they have grips. One thing I didn't mention about the women's line is the logo. It's just more feminine. It has a more script looking to it, and their gloves also have cool little patterns. For example, the lightweight has a leopard pattern, and this midweight then has their script Huntworth pattern. So that's all I have to say about the Huntworth's women's line. I'm super excited to go out with my husband this season and hunt with them in Huntworth clothing. He raves about it constantly. He wears it constantly, whether he's hunting or not. So I'm super excited just to do this with him and to try out their pieces and report back to you at the end of the season.
So that's all for this video. Thanks for tuning in as we showcased our thoughts on the Heat Boost and the women's lineup for Huntworth for 2022 as they launch into the 2023 season. I hope you're able to get outside and enjoy the sport of archery hunting if you so choose. Definitely enjoy God's beautiful creation. Stay warm while you're out there, and we'll get to see you next time.